This is a quick guide on how to install the Prosto semi-custom showers. The tools you're going to need include a level. When it comes to that, the longer the better. That'll just provide a little more accuracy. You'll need a caulking gun, a drill, a metal drill bit, a set of Allen wrenches, a masonry drill bit, which is the silver one in the center of the screen, and a tape measure. Your first step is going to be to attach the U-channels to the wall. So to do this, you want to start by drilling several holes in the U-channel. You need a minimum of 3. We recommend around 5 though. If you look on the right side of your screen, there's a basic diagram. You're going to want a hole about 1 inch from the top, 1 inch from the bottom, 1 in the center, and then 1 in between each of those. You're then going to measure to determine the correct location and positioning of your U-channel. Once you get them where you want your piece of glass to be located on your wall, you're going to use a level to make sure that the U-channel is completely vertical and not at some weird angle. You're then going to take a Sharpie and poke through the holes you just drilled in the U-channel so that you put a little mark on your tile wall where you're going to need to drill your hole. After you have the marks, you can remove the U-channel, and using your masonry bit, you're going to carefully drill the holes in your tile. I found it helps for slippage and everything and to keep from scratching your tiles if you put a little X of tape on the wall, kind of shown in the bottom left of your screen. That'll just help keep everything from slipping, and it just helps get you a cleaner hole. Also, you're going to want to make sure to keep that bit wet to keep it cool and everything while you're drilling. That'll just make the bit last a little longer. Once you have all your holes drilled into the tile, you're going to attach the U-channel to the wall. It's preferred that you have a stud behind where you're drilling to attach into, but if you don't have a stud there, you can use some heavy anchors as well. When you're drilling into this, you want to use roughly 3-inch screws. We recommend stainless steel just in case some moisture gets back there. Your next step is to secure any B or C panels that you have. To do this, you should have already done it, but you want to start by unwrapping your glass panels. You're then going to fill the U-channel that you just attached to the wall with silicone adhesive. You want to fill it completely to the top, and make sure you use silicone adhesive, not a silicone caulking. The caulking just won't have the hold that you need. Once you've filled the U-channel, you're going to insert your glass panel into it, and then once your glass is inserted, you can put your level on there or use a tape measure. Just make sure your glass is straight and aligned with the wall, so it's not going to be at a weird angle when you're trying to get your door to line up with it. Once you have it where you want it, kind of like in the picture you see here, you're going to want to use some masking tape or whatever you feel is necessary to secure the top of the glass panel to the wall, just for while it dries, so if something happens, it doesn't just fall out and shatter. Once you have it secured, you're going to want to clean up any silicone that seeped out when you pushed it in. To do that, just follow the cleanup instructions on the tube of silicone that the manufacturer gives you. And then the most important step of this entire shower process is to make sure you give the silicone plenty of time to dry. The tubes usually say about 1 day, 24 hours. I recommend giving it quite a bit more time, usually 3 days or so, just because there's not a lot of airflow in there. So you want to make sure it's really secure before you move on. For B panels, you're going to want to attach a top brace. This will just help support it, the weight of the door opening and shutting, and that's just a lot of stress being put on that silicone you just put in. So this top brace is going to help take a lot of that stress. To do this, in the bottom right of your screen, you're going to see a picture of the glass clamp. There's a screw on the back of that you're going to want to loosen, and that'll allow you to slide that clamp over the top of the glass panel. Once you do that, slide it down until the other end of the channel support touches the wall, and get it to a location you like, and then mark the location on the wall where that is. And what we're talking about now is the top photo on your screen is the part that's going to screw into your tile. So that's where you're going to be marking where that is. Once you have it marked, you can take this brace off of the glass. You'll have a mark there, and you're going to use your masonry bit again to drill a hole where you just marked. Once you've drilled the hole, you can slip the little cap, the top picture on your screen. That little cap slips right off, and from the inside you're going to screw it to your tile. Again, it's nice if there's a stud here, but you can use a heavy anchor also. Once you have that little sleeve attached to the wall, you're going to slide the glass clamp over the glass again, and then slide your brace down until it goes into that sleeve, and then retighten it onto the sleeve. Once you've done that, your final step is to tighten the screw on the glass clamp to really clamp that glass tight. You want to be careful you don't over tighten it and crack your glass, but you do want it to be firm. If you are attaching your door to a B panel, this is how you're going to want to do it. The hinge is shown, it's an A panel to B panel hinge in the top photo on the right side of your screen. You're going to want to start by removing the back plate on the square side. You'll notice there's on the left side there's a squared side of the hinge, and then there's also kind of a C-shaped side. So you're going to want to remove the panel on the square side, and then when you open it up, there's going to be several seals. You're going to want to discard the two thinner seals. We're only going to be using the two thicker ones. And now is a good time to adjust the hinge tension if you feel the need. You can do that by following the guide on the picture on the bottom of your screen. Inside the hinge there will be two Allen screws. Just turn those to the left to adjust the tension. They're going to be really tough to turn, but once you get them going, it'll be pretty easy. So once you've adjusted your tension, your next step is to put those rubber gaskets, one on each side of the glass. Make sure that white piece of plastic that comes with the hinge is also on there as well. You're then going to place the hinge into the cutout of the glass on your B panel, and you're going to reattach the back plate that you took off in the first step. Then put a level on the hinge to make sure it's in line with the glass and everything's squared up, and then really tighten the screws on the back plate, and you want to really tighten those good, but again, don't over tighten and crack the glass. If you're using a to wall hinge to attach your door directly to a wall instead of a B panel, this is how you're going to do that. Your first step is going to be adjust the tension of the hinge. If you look at the top right picture on your screen, that's the two screws on the back of the hinge that you're going to turn to adjust the tension. Your next step is to carefully measure where your hinges are going to be placed. Your final result, you want the top edge of your door glass to line up with all the other glass. If you're only having a door, it's not as crucial, but you do want to make sure the door is off of the ground a little bit so it's not going to drag against your tile or your pan when you open and close it. So once you've determined where you want your hinges, just like in the U-channel step, you're going to take a Sharpie and put it through the 4 holes on the hinge just to mark your drilling spots on the tile wall. So now we're going to get our masonry bit back out. Remember to keep it wet as you go. Put the X on your tiles with the tape, and you're going to drill the 4 holes you just marked. There will be 4 holes for each hinge. Once you get them drilled, you're then going to attach the hinge to the wall, similar to like you did with the U-channel. You want to use probably 3-inch screws. We recommend stainless steel. It is very important though that the hinges go into a stud. Most anchors won't be able to hold the pressure put on these hinges when you're opening and closing the door, so you really need a stud there. Once you've gotten them in, again, you can put a level on, just make sure everything's nice and straight before you really tighten them down. Now that you have your hinges attached to either a B panel or your wall, your next step is going to be attaching the door to it. Before you attach the door to a B panel, make sure that the silicone is dry. If you didn't let the silicone dry long enough, this is where it's going to pull out. So once your silicone is dry, you have your hinges attached, you're ready to put the door onto the hinges. So to do this, remove the back plate or the side plate on the hinge, and this plate you're removing is going to be on the C-shaped side of the hinge. Again, you're going to find 4 rubber gaskets. You can discard the 2 thinner ones. We're using the thicker. Place 1 gasket on each side of the glass and place the cutouts in the door onto the hinges. Make sure the screws are on the inside of the shower when you're doing all this hinge placement. And it's good to have a second person there to reattach the back plate on the hinges while you hold the door in place. The doors can be pretty heavy, especially bigger ones like a 35-inch door. So you might even need 2 people to hold the door while somebody else screws the hinge back on. Once you get everything on, you can kind of align the door, get it to where you want it, and then have someone really tighten those screws down to hold everything in place. Once you have your door on, this is kind of a repeat of what I just said, but if you find it's not really aligned how you want it, maybe the top's not aligned or the door is crooked a little bit, here's where you're going to fix it. You want the gap, if you're going completely frameless and don't have any magnetic seals or anything, you want the gap between your door and the wall, or your door and the other glass panel that it's closing to be roughly 1/4 inch. If you're using a magnetic seal that goes from glass to glass, you need it to be 3/4 inches. So to adjust the door, you're going to loosen all of the screws on the hinges, on both hinges, and make sure you don't take the screws off though, you're just loosening them. You're then going to lift the door and align it exactly how you want it, and again, it's good to have a second person to really tighten that down. If it settles when you let go of it, it means you didn't tighten it enough, and so you're going to want to realign it and then tighten it a little better. To attach the door handle, it's pretty self-explanatory. Just pull the 2 halves apart, put the bigger half through, put the smaller half through, attach all the screws. It's pretty self-explanatory. A lot of people, you can put the big handle on the inside or the outside. Most people put on the outside to hold a towel, but it's all up to you. Attaching the waterproof seals is fairly easy. They just slip right onto the ends of the glass. It's good to start lined up with the bottom of the glass and then kind of push it on and work your way up. And then with a razor, if the seal was a little too long, you can trim it at the top once you get it all on there. Cleaning your shower glass, it's glass, so it's pretty easy. Before your first shower, a lot of people will put a glass sealer on. It's kind of like a Rain-X, just makes it so the water doesn't really stick. A lot of people, another option is to squeegee the glass after every shower. That can be a little, time consuming, but it does give you good results. And your final option is to use Windex. It is glass, so just a simple glass cleaner, once a week or whenever you clean your bathroom will be great for cleaning the glass also. So it's really a simple product to install, and after watching this video, you should have absolutely no issues.